Coming up on Hoge Jahns. Oh boy, that was rough. Not the return to Detroit that Ben Johnson wanted. We got a lot to talk about. Johnsy is still in Detroit. A live edition of Hoge Jahns on Sunday night starts right now. What's up? Welcome in, Bears fans. Hopefully you're still hanging in there. Sunday night edition of Hoge and Jahns, and a rough one in Detroit today. Johnsy was there. He's still in Detroit. Welcome in. Woo.
Still doesn't feel any better since I last talked to Adam, 4 hours ago. Still not a good game for the Chicago Bears whatsoever. Really?
No, I mean, I think the question now becomes, is this a sign of what the season's going to be? Where it's, we're just sort of conditioned to be prepared and for the worst and see things in that light, or was this a blip and is this just a team that's going to take a while to come together and maybe take off as the season goes along? I mean, there's not a whole lot of positives to look for in this one today.
No, I mean, if it's a blip, it's one big, ugly, serious blip. I mean, they gave up 52 points today, Adam. 52, 5-2. They got their butts kicked.
You know the last time they gave up 50 points in a game?
I do actually, but remind everybody.
2014 in Green Bay, Lambeau Field. And apparently the franchise record is 55 that they've ever allowed. So they weren't too far off. If that, the Lions had that missed field goal early in the game. If that had gone through, they would have tied it. So, I think the Lions took this game personal for a number of different reasons. You had the return of Ben Johnson, but I think it's also a pride thing for what happened last week in in Green Bay. That was not up to their standards. So, I probably underestimated that a little bit. I think I underestimated what this Bears defense might be. It didn't help that Jalen Johnson and TJ Edwards re-aggravated their injuries, and now they could miss significant time. So it's a little bit of everything that led to a really disappointing game for the Bears today.
Yeah, I overestimated the Bears' ability to keep this game close. Maybe I was thinking too much about the first three quarters against J.J. McCarthy in week one at Soldier Field, but I mean, this got out of hand pretty early for the Bears defense, and there was no stopping it. There really wasn't. They had like one drive that amounted to a punt for sure. I can't even remember. All I know is that the Lions kicked off a lot today because they scored a lot of points today, Adam.
Yeah, a lot of points. We are going to break this all down, and as always, talk about our likes and dislikes. We are coming to you on a Sunday evening because John has to fly home in the morning from Detroit. So, the good news is this will be up for your Monday morning commute, whether you want to listen to this or not, considering the result. But, we I feel like before we get into our likes and dislikes, have you had time? I know you just so everybody knows, Johns went to the Lions locker room. He caught the tail end of the Bears locker room. I know you weren't in the press conferences live. Have you had a chance to catch up on what Ben Johnson had to say?
I did. I watched both press conferences.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was your reaction to that? Because it made more sense to me once we heard from Caleb and we heard what that message in the locker room was. So if you guys missed this earlier, the way I heard it post game, because we're doing a live show, we heard Ben Johnson's presser. And I was a little bit surprised at how sort of tame he was and hey, this is not the end of the world. I believe in these guys. It's what I told them. We'll get this corrected. Everything's going to be okay. It was a very much of the sky is not falling type of press conference. And then when I heard, and that kind of surprised me just on what we know about Ben Johnson so far, and we're still getting to know him, and we didn't know how he's going to handle situations like this in the past. And it was very, this has happened before. I've been a part of these games. Once I heard what the message was in the locker room, and Caleb shared that, and I'm sure some of the other players did in the locker room, the message when he got in there was, look, we believe in you. Coaches believe in you. We're going to stay together as a team. This is going to be okay. Once you give that message in the locker room, you can't go to the media and give a different message and start, screaming, yelling, and getting all mad. So I guess if that's the approach he took with this team. I found that very interesting. I'm curious what you think about that, because we've seen him be very no nonsense at times and get upset at times, but this was very different after what was a relatively embarrassing loss today.
Yeah, I guess my read on that, it is only 2 weeks. So it's funny you say the sky's not falling. I think it was, I forget which Lions player is walking through their locker room and goes, well, I guess the sky's not falling here. Probably in reaction to what happened after week 1 when they lost to Green Bay. Yeah. But they scored 52 points. So they could say that. So, I understand the sentiment coming from that locker room, but I guess my question to that, and yes, it is only 2 weeks, but if this continues, how long does that belief continue? How many times can you actually say that? The Lions game is a pick 'em, and Matt Eberflus is going to have that defense ready to go, and he's actually been okay against Ben Johnson's offense. If ugly losses continue, can you keep saying that? I'm sure you can, but this, I guess I'm trying not to make too much out of what he said, because what else is he supposed to say? At the same time, knowing that we're only 2 games into this. But to the point that we always try to make is we've been through these things before. We've heard coaches say similar things. We've seen players repeat the messages from their coaches before. They got spanked 50. They allowed 52 points. They got spanked today. So I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of anger, a little bit of annoyance at the press conference from the QB and head coach.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to ask about it off the top of the show, because I think it's relevant. But I think good coaches pick and choose the buttons that they push. So I don't think this is necessarily the wrong button. I'm a little bit surprised by it, but that doesn't mean that I think it's the wrong button. And now we get to see the response. What I'm worried about, though, Johns, is it's one thing for the coaches, and I totally understand this approach, and we've heard it throughout camp and the offseason. We're not going to talk about last year. We weren't here last year. We weren't a part of last year. And yet, sometimes I hope that that's just them saying that, because I think it's also very important that they took a deep dive into all the issues of last year. If they don't want to talk about it publicly, fine. But if they just turned a blind eye, sort of a let's just throw the tape out on this game type of approach, I don't know if that's okay, because there were so many problems last year that went beyond just the coaches that can fester, that can carry over. I'm talking leadership. I'm talking locker room dynamics. I'm talking about the fact that this team has lost 12 of their last 13 games. And Ben Johnson might not have been here. The Antoine Randall and Dennis Allen and all these coaches, they might not have been here. But Caleb Williams was here. Cole Kmet was here. Montez Sweat was here. Pretty much everybody, Ryan Poles has drafted before DJ this year.
Edwards,
they were all here. Yeah, so it still matters. It might not matter to these coaches, but this is a losing culture. And Ben Johnson has his hands full in trying to flip it and turning a blind eye to that culture and all the problems that not only existed last year, but quite frankly have existed since you and I started covering this team. That's not how you fix it. So I'm hoping Ben Johnson is aware of all that stuff. But we're going to find out here, because there's some really unfortunate warning signs in these first couple games.
Yeah. What do you think is the most problematic and worrisome?
Well, the most problematic is the defense. And because let me just already start to spin it towards next week. Okay, great. The Cowboys are here. Matt Eberflus, his defense, it doesn't look that good. Russell Wilson just put up career numbers today, like Giants records. And he looked washed up 2 days ago. That's a good sign. Okay, yeah, but that offense for the Cowboys also put up 40-something points and looks pretty damn good. Who the hell's going to cover CD Lamb? I mean, Amon-Ra was just running. They didn't have a solution to Amon-Ra today. And if Jalen Johnson's hurt, which he is, I can't imagine he plays next week. I mean, is this a game that's going to be like in the 40s, just like the game the Cowboys played today against the Giants? And so they can't get a stop defensively. They've given up 73 points in their last 5 quarters. And now they're banged up even more. That is insanely concerning.
You know what's worrisome for me is that we left training camp feeling really good about this defense just in terms of what they were doing in training camp. Maybe we were watching a middle of the pack defense, and I'm putting that pretty mildly right now, given what you just said about the past 5 quarters. A middle of the pack defense just taking advantage of an offense still trying to find its way. Maybe that's the story from training camp. Maybe that's the final takeaway of what we watched, covered, and evaluated for weeks in the summer leading up to this point. Maybe those good signs that we thought we believed in training camp with the Bears defense just weren't real, Adam. Maybe they just weren't real.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on Sunday night. I think this Vikings game just went to halftime, so maybe a good halftime break. If you're watching Sunday Night Football, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Hoge Jahns. If you're listening to this later as a podcast, please like and subscribe it. I will acknowledge Johns, you never look better right now, honestly.
No. That bad? On my screen, I look crystal clear.
I know you do. It's super blurry. However, you sound great, so that's most important. We can hear you, and so people listening to the podcast don't even know that. You don't look great, but if you're watching live, please bear with us. He's dealing with that hotel internet on the road.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I should have paid the $10 and got the upgraded one, which I don't think is real.
Whoa. Wait. Now we're about to go down a road. Are you staying at a Marriott?
Yeah.
Then you don't have to pay for it then. You have your status.
I just click the regular button and I get in.
No. See, this is okay. I actually take back my apology. This is 100% on John's.
There's no such thing as like the secret updated Wi-Fi.
100% works better. It 100% works better.
You carry the show. I'll log off and log back in, and we'll have a bet here.
Okay.
You do the ads, and I'll come back.
This is actually a great test. This is a phenomenal test to see if your theory about whether the upgraded internet is actually real. So why don't you do that? We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back with our likes and dislikes, which are presented by RC Cola. And we'll before we get into that, Katie, we'll jump into the ads here. We'll give Johns a second to reboot his internet, and hopefully it's a little bit better. So bear with us. We'll be right back here. 2 minutes on Hoge and Jahns. All right. Our friends at Sunnyside Dispenser are here to elevate your football season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection of over 100 different strains to choose from. You always got to check out Sunny. They got locations all over Illinois. They have spots as far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit, Wrigleyville, River North in the city. They got you covered. Sunnyside, and they have easy online ordering and in-store pickup too. All you have to do is visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off. That's 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. For returning customers, use code CHGO50 Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. And Hoge Jahns is also brought to you by RC Cola. We got to be real here for a second. The world's gone soft, kind of like parts of the Bears today. Everybody's just getting a trophy for showing up. Bears did not get any trophies today, though, and everything needs to be bubble wrapped. Soda used to have some kick. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC is an OG cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC has not changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. So do yourself a favor, grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end of summer parties, your tailgates, your back to school celebrations, just watching the game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing. All right, we keep it rolling here on Hoge and Jahns. We'll see if we can reestablish with Johnsy. There he is.
Any better?
It is slightly better. It's not crystal clear.
Slightly better?
But it is slightly better. So this will be, and sometimes on this great program we use called StreamYard, it takes it. Oh, dude, you're getting crisp. It's looking good. We just proved the Marriott theory. The upgraded internet is worth it, especially when it's free and you don't have to pay for it.
I know.
Okay.
I did it when I was having dinner with Kevin Fishbane and our good friend Patrick Finley as we shared a burger at the bar down here.
Okay. No Joe Mears?
No Joe Mears.
This trip?
No.
Oh, that's one of my favorite places. Our old dinners with JD. By the way, I'm going to have a shout out to JD before we get out of here. Little tailgate action that was going on today with some of his friends and family. All right, let's get to our likes and dislikes in this game. It is brought to you by RC Cola. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. I had an RC Cola during this game today. We had some pizza delivered. It was fantastic. The RC Cola's in our fridge over at
it honestly is like the perfect pot for a pizza sometimes.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. All right, our likes and dislikes. I don't know how many likes there are going to be, but we might as well kick it off with the most obvious one. I mean, Rome Odunze here. If you're looking for a positive, if you're looking for something to cling on to that's better than Johnsy's internet, it is Rome Odunze breaking out in here year 2. I mean, sometimes it's okay to reference fantasy points. 32 fantasy points today. So you know he's doing something good. 7 catches. If he puts up numbers like this, couple touchdowns, top 10 pick. You need these picks to be superstars, right? They can't just be good starters. They have to be superstars. You end up in the top 10 because you're bad. And you need to be able to flip that from not being a bad team anymore into a good team. You need to get superstars, blue chip players out of those picks. So very good sign here with Rome Odunze through his first 2 games.
That is, or I should say, he is one of my 2 likes from this game. I only have 2. And I thought Rome Odunze was the Bears' best player throughout the game. You know, it's a short list in terms of who could be considered good today. It was, I mean, nobody on defense is worth mentioning when it comes to the likes this game. But an outstanding performance. Really good game for Rome Odunze. You could tell he's got that chemistry with Caleb Williams going. Just an outstanding performance from him tonight.
Now, I will give a dislike on this. I did think he could have, and I've already seen in the comments here. There was a couple borderline drops, probably one that was definitely a drop.
One for sure.
Yeah, a couple other plays he could have made. I don't know that wide receivers are ever going to be perfect. Drops are going to happen. But as good as he played, there were some opportunities still to be made. But that's okay. So if you're Rome Odunze, you're looking at this like, hey, I had a great game. I'm off to a great start, and I could still be better. And so you perfect that craft, and that's a good thing. I guess I'm curious what your other like is.
My other like was the poise that Caleb Williams showed early on, specifically on his first touchdown pass to Rome Odunze. I mentioned this on the postgame show. Just an outstanding job hanging in the pocket. It was getting muddy. There was a bunch of guys coming after him. There was a blitz on from the Lions. He stood strong, delivered a pass, an easy pass. And sometimes it's all it's needed. Doesn't need a heroic play. and led to a touchdown for the Bears. So there was some good moments of poise from Caleb Williams standing in that pocket early on in this game.
I think with the way we saw the game go, we knew that this offense, while the defense is mostly to blame, but you could just sort of see the way this game was going, points scored early, that the offense was going to have to be damn near perfect to be able to keep up. And there was a sequence in the second quarter that I really did not like, because the defense actually came through with a couple stops, including when they held them to a field goal that was missed. But you're driving and DeAndre Swift fumbles. Now, it was a great play by Branch. We got to give him credit. Sometimes that's going to happen where you're just hitting the right spot. When the mouth guard goes flying and the ball goes flying, you know it was a good hit. But they get the ball back. Another opportunity, still down 7. Turnover on downs. Back-to-back quarterback sneaks. I don't know that do we have enough faith in quarterback sneaks with Caleb Williams yet to be running it on back-to-back plays if it didn't work the first time? Like, there's no evidence here that that's a go-to play that you just stick with. And I thought, Johns, I want to know what you thought. I thought there was a false step so when you quarterback sneak, you got to snap goal.
No,
you got to pick your lane and hit it.
You don't wait. It's go. The second one, I thought there was a false step.
Yes.
The first one, I want to say the second one, like watching that live from the press box, even as high as that press box is at Ford Field, like there's no way, like the officials didn't move. At least the one on our side of the field didn't slide to his left at all. Didn't get it. So you got to be more convincing of that. To me, like, give it to Kyle Monangai. Give it to Roshan Johnson. He was active today. Like, have something different. So to your point, in terms of having faith in Caleb Williams in those situations, well, no, especially now. But I do think it's a small sample size. But apparently, it's something to work on for the Bears.
Yeah, I didn't love that. And then they still get another opportunity, and you get that bad interception by Caleb. Now, he explained after the game, he's scrambling. He thought that Olamide was going to basically scramble, drill, and go up the sideline, which is not the worst assumption. I think that's probably what he's supposed to do in the scramble drill. But I still think that throw would have been forced, even if Olamide was where he's supposed to be. I don't know that he would have been open. And so just throw the ball out of bounds. Live another day. Didn't do it. It was intercepted. And so you had 3 opportunities there. And it just, I don't know how you felt in the moment, but squandering those opportunities. And we can get to the refs and what happened before halftime. So technically they were still in it. But I felt like that's where the game was really lost. If they were going to have any chance of keeping up with putting some type of pressure on the Lions, it was lost there. And you got to help your defense sometimes, especially when they're in that position they ended up in today. And that was their moment to do it. They didn't take advantage. And so I wasn't surprised when things got out of hand in the second half.
It's simple on that play. The interception, throw the ball away. Ben Johnson was a matter of fact about it. Just throw the ball away. He tried to do too much. I know what he's saying. The explanation is fine, but it didn't play out that way. And I think, there was two lines there to begin with. Even if he was running up the sideline, like he wasn't exactly going to be open. Trying to do too much in the situation. Second and 24, throw the ball away, live another down. Try to get a good punt from Torrey Taylor. Hopefully get a good punt from Torrey Taylor and try to get some better field position. But yeah, don't force throws like that. That was one of my dislikes. You want one from me?
Sure.
I disliked the Bears pass rush. Believe it or not, didn't like it. Didn't see it. The one sack they got, Adam, was negated by penalties. Montez Sweat actually got to Jared Goff, but it was wiped off by penalties. But other than that, Jared Goff, even under pressure, Adam, would sidestep and make like off-schedule throws for significant gains. He had a great game, and of course he's going to have a great game if he's allowed to sit back there and pick the Bears defense apart. So the pass rush, concern coming into this game, major dislike after this game.
Man, if I'm doing this show in Detroit right now, I'm talking about how the interior of the offensive line stepped up and played much better in this game compared to week 1 against Green Bay. That is it. I am not surprised by the lack of edge pressure. I think that is just what this Bears defense is at this point. I don't know why anybody would assume it's going to be any better. But I really felt like the interior of the defensive line would be able to collapse pockets, create penetration, force Jared Goff off his spot in a move, which he's not really good at. And I didn't think Javon Dexter, didn't really notice him much today. Grady Jarrett, I'm worried about this knee that he's all of a sudden on the injury report with and doesn't look like the same guy that he did during training camp. And he had a severe knee injury 2 years ago. Not great, especially at his age. Andrew Billings had a couple moments in this game where I could tell that he took on 2 blocks and got through, but it's just not enough. I thought the Bears, the 3 new starters on this Lions offensive line who struggled last week in Green Bay against a Packer team that didn't have Kenny Clark anymore. Very disappointed that they weren't able to do more on the interior of that line.
Absolutely. The lack of the pass rush is problematic. I thought Dennis Allen may have tried to blitz more, but with Jalen Johnson out, I mean, you're worried about the coverage, and coaches all often talk about rush and cover working together. Well, they were kind of working together today, and allowing the Lions to have an outstanding day across the board by almost every single facet of their offense.
In terms of what happened before halftime,
did you read, Mr. Officials? Did you read the pool report?
Yes.
Were you more confused after reading it?
No, I wasn't more confused. It just didn't add any more clarity. I guess what I need to go back and watch closer is why they chose 16 seconds as the moment where they were doing the 10-second runoff. But I have to rewatch that whole sequence, and I haven't really had a chance to do so. Otherwise, I understood the ruling. It sucks for the Bears. I mean, the bottom line is that sideline official screwed up the call. I don't think it was the easiest call in the world to make when a guy makes a crazy catch like that and he's going out of bounds. To be able to see that his knee hit in bounds is one thing, but then you also have to simultaneously see that he's being touched down by the corner at the same time. Because if his knee touches and he's untouched, Johns, and he goes out of bounds, then he's just out of bounds. So the fact that he's being touched at the same time, I'm not trying to defend the refs on that. You want them to get the call right, and obviously on replay he was in bounds. The clock should have run. But that's not how it was called. And so then go to replay and fix it, which is what they did. The only solution you could possibly do is have a 10-second runoff. I was just still a little confused at why they chose 16 exactly as the runoff point. And then that just sucked for the Bears because even if it was 4 seconds left on the clock, you probably kicked the field goal. Maybe not. Dan Campbell could get greedy. But at that moment, when you saw the Bears they halfway down the tunnel, running to halftime, thinking they got away with it, instead they're coming out. Every Bears fan in the world knew what was coming next. You knew they were going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, he did. Just the whole look of it, like the Lions in the moment, like there was no urgency to run to the line of scrimmage because I think they were convinced just in terms of where the official was ruling on the field, like, oh, he's out of bounds.
Well, they ruled it out of bounds.
And then all of a sudden they're all rushed into the line of scrimmage and Jared Goff is spiking it. And then you have the chaos that ensues after that where the Bears are standing around and then Ben Johnson sends them all off and they're running right back. And I think the fans, especially in Ford Field, had a lot of fun with that situation with the Bears. Like some of them were like actually in the tunnel. I don't know if the broadcast did justice to this, but they were way off the field. Some of these players, like they were down the tunnel into the locker room already. I'm exaggerating just slightly, but they had to come running back. So that's a tough look. But yeah, you kind of knew it was going to come. And just an outstanding. All it took was 4 seconds Single coverage, St. Brown versus Stevenson. A laser-like throw from Jared Goff, touchdown. 4 seconds. That's all it took. That's all it took to get that touchdown at the very end.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold Stevenson for a second because I have a point on that. But here's what I dislike about it, and we can blame the refs all you want. But to me, that whole sequence was a classic Bears. You either create your own luck or your own unluck. Don't give up the 29-yard catch.
Yeah.
Get some pressure in that moment. Don't give up. Now, it was a great catch. You give Isaac Tislaw a lot of credit. 3rd-round pick who's making the most of it. The Bears are lacking in those right now, which is going to be my next dislike. But make a play. Don't let that whole situation play out, because you still gave up the catch and you're an inch away from it being ruled out of bounds anyway. So to point to that as, oh, the refs screwed the Bears. I mean, it didn't help the Bears there, but I can't point at that and be like, oh, the league's against the Bears right now. It just losing mentality, which I think is part of the problem right now.
You said you already had another dislike. I got a couple more.
Well, Johns, it's glaring when we're looking at the inactives before the game and you're already getting a sick feeling in your stomach. That Ozzie Trapillo, 2nd-round pick, inactive. Shamar Turner, 2nd-round pick, inactive. Karan Amagaji, 3rd-round pick last year, inactive. Kyler Gordon, who's a good player, 2nd-round pick, inactive, but with a history of these soft tissue injuries and can't stay healthy. It's just a bad look. And then Tyreek Stevenson, 2nd-round pick, bad game. Jervon Dexter, 2nd-round pick, not a good game. Didn't get in. I mean, the list goes on, and it's starting to add up. I don't. How could you not dislike that?
Can I add one more? And it's probably unfair to this player I'm about to mention to include him in this conversation, because I still think he could be a very good player. Colston Loveland, 10th overall pick, 1 target, 0 yards. Luther Burden, 2nd-round pick, 2 targets, 1 reception, 5 yards. Yeah.
So it's. I said this on CHO Bears earlier, and I'm not. I'm with you. I think Colston Loveland can still be a really good player.
Same with Luther Burden.
But what's frustrating to me with both of these guys now, it's not them. It's the lack of getting them involved. I realize you like Devin Duvernay. To me, it's redundant. Just have Luther Burden do all that. Give him another opportunity to have the ball in his hands, punt return and kick return. Now, he's getting some kick returns, but I'd like to see him on punt return too. But what I was really going to get at is it's admittedly too early to do the Tyler Warren versus Colston Loveland thing, but it's inevitable. And when Tyler Warren catches 7 passes last week on 9 targets, and today has a 41-yard catch and I believe 4 catches overall and 70-something yards, and I'm reading stories out of Indianapolis about how Shane Steichen's making Tyler Warren the focal point of my offense or of their offense. That's what's frustrating to me. I think these are good players the Bears drafted. I want them to be good players. But then where's the getting them involved part? Same thing with Kyle Monungai. I know he's a 7th-round pick, but you talk him up. You seem to like him. You talk about how you trust him, and then you don't give him the ball. So if you're going to use a high pick on a tight end, use the tight end. Use him. They're doing it in Indy right now, and they're 2-0, and Daniel Jones looks like he's Peyton Manning all of a sudden. Like I said, too early to make the conclusion on what was the right tight end pick. But they both drafted tight ends high. One team's using them, the other one's not.
There was a snap, I'll say, with Colston Loveland where I thought he was wide open, at least from my vantage point. And from the same vantage point, I thought Caleb Williams was looking at him. And he didn't throw the ball. Wasn't some deep down the field route. You're looking at like an 8-yard, 9-yard slant and just didn't let the ball go. The tight end usage, That's one of my dislikes again. Cole Kmet, 2 targets, 29 yards, along a 22. I think that was actually from Tyson Bagent at the very end too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. All the targets were garbage time.
Yeah. So, yeah, for all the talk about 12 personnel and at least the belief that this could be an advantage for the Bears going forward, not seeing it. It's a dislike for me, and maybe that is part of the play calls. Maybe it is part of the design, and it's probably a lot of the quarterback trying to figure this out as he learns Ben Johnson's system still.
Another dislike for me, second straight week, the Bears went 3-and-out coming out of halftime. And it started with a false start by DeAndre Swift. It just inexcusable. You can't have a false start in the first play coming out of halftime, especially by the running back. It just cannot happen. And so that's 2 weeks in a row. Great. They score on the first drive of the game. That's new. That's different. That's a positive sign. That's a step in the right direction. But you've had these opportunities in both of these games, in what I always talk about, the middle 8 of the game, and they've scored on both of those opportunities. They scored today. They scored a little too quickly and left 2 minutes on the clock for the Lions, and they went down and scored 2. But last week it was a field goal, then they gave up a field goal. This week it's touchdown, then they gave up a touchdown. And then in both situations, they go to the locker room at halftime, they come out, and they go 3-and-out. It's killer. It's an absolute killer.
I have Tyreek Stevenson's performance today as a dislike, but apparently you have a rant here prepared for number 29.
No, that was part of the one I already did with
Okay.
all the second round picks that are just not good enough.
Did it feel like to you that they were picking on him a bit?
Yeah. I mean, early, Amon-Ra just ran away from him. I thought before Jalen got hurt that they should have put Deshaun Wright in for Tyreek. And I wonder, now this is a different coaching staff, but remember, there were times last year where Terrell Smith was coming in, where it was a rotation with Tyreek Stevenson. Now, Terrell Smith's hurt, and this is different coaching staff, so if he was healthy, I don't know they would have done that, but and you just need, at some point, you need one of these second round picks to be a dude.
To really hit.
Yes, someone. I mean, they're second round picks. It's the NFL. These guys are supposed to be starters and then some. I don't know. It's just frustrating.
One of my final dislikes is Jalen Johnson re-aggravating his groin injury. TJ Edwards re-hurting his hamstring. Like this is not good. This is not good for the player. It's not good for the defense. It's not good for the team. Really, there's not much to say, but this is going to be a dislike that carries over to next week, the week after that. Like these hamstring pulls, these groin injuries, they can linger all season long. Like I don't even know if the early bye week is going to help them, if these are going to be the things that they experience in their first game back like this. I'm not sure they rushed it back either, but this isn't good. Not good at them.
Yeah, I think they played Jalen Johnson's injury fine. They last week seemed to be the precautionary week that they sat him, and then he was full go in practice. He was off the injury. He had no injury designation by Friday. I don't have a problem with them playing him, but I was worried. These groin injuries are tricky. I know he was on the pivot and said that his adductor came right off the bone. I think it's fair to wonder if there's a sports hernia involved in it too. And look, when we first heard about this injury and we talked to Ryan Poles in his office about it, they were trying not to sound alarmed by it. I think they did an okay job of doing that, showing that. But at the same time, it felt like best case scenario, he'd be good to go by week 1, no problem. The worst case scenario was that it was going to be something that lingered all season and was going to be something that would be managed. And there was a very good likelihood that Jalen Johnson wasn't going to be the same Jalen Johnson, even if he was able to play. At least that's what I thought was the worst case scenario. This going out right away in your first game back. I mean, I don't know anything at this point, but I would not be. It feels like an IR stint could be coming here, to at least spend 4 games off, and it could be worse than that. So
that leaves Tyreek Stevenson as your top cornerback, or Nashawn Wright as your top cornerback in a passing league, in a difficult division, with a very tough schedule. These are the things that add up, and these are the conversations that, it complicates matters because, yes, you're only 2 games into this, but you're missing defensive starters. Your quarterback's learning a new system, and he's struggling in it right now. Like this, these things last more than 1 week.
So who's going to save him? And the only answer right now is Kyler Gordon comes back, who did not practice at all last week, who was never going to play this week, who I don't know is going to play next week.
Who I didn't see at all doing anything pregame. Like I looked for him multiple times. Did not see him whatsoever on the field at Ford Field before the game.
And he was already dealing with that injury in camp. So he also suffered a setback. So is he going to be dealing with his all season, even when he does come back? And he's got a history of this. So, look, this is not one of those shows where we just want to rant and rave about all these bad things. But the conclusion here, at least for me, is I am extremely worried about this defense. There's not one thing that you can really point to. I guess it would be Jaquan Brisker. He's healthy and he's playing okay. But I didn't think Kevin Byard particularly had the greatest game ever. And you're not getting help up front.
Yeah, well,
you could stomach these secondary injuries if you were getting a pass rush. And it's non-existent.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like you could get through injuries in the secondary if you have Khalil Mack performing like 2018 Khalil Mack. If you have an Aiden Hutchinson performing like he did today. The Bears just don't have that juice, that momentum up front going for them right now. They just don't.
Now, on the bright side, as we wrap this thing up, and Katie, I'll call for that photo here in a few minutes. I mean, the next 2 games are winnable. You said this is a pick-em against the Cowboys?
That's when I last saw it.
Raiders play tomorrow night, so we'll get a chance to watch them a little bit closer. But they're going to be they're not going to be the same old Raiders. They have a competent quarterback in Geno Smith and a more than competent head coach in Pete Carroll and an owner in Tom Brady now that is having an influence. So I think the Raiders have kind of cleaned up their act a little bit. So I think 2-2 is on the table. I think 0-4 is on the table. And I don't know.
I'm looking at Dak Prescott's numbers today. Dak Prescott, 38 for 52 for 361 yards, 3 sacks, 2 TDs, 1 interception. CeeDee Lamb, 9 catches for 112 yards. Okay.
Well, and their tight end had 9 catches for 78 yards too. George Pickens is on that team. There's still weapons. Dak is a good quarterback. Now on the bright side, Russell Wilson's stats were insane. He threw for 450 yards today and 3 touchdowns with an interception, which is about the only thing that brought them down. So regardless of what happens with the defense next week, I think the way you got to look at this, if you're Ben Johnson, is this is a game where the offense needs to get going, where Caleb Williams has a big game. Statistically, Rome Odunze has a big game. Colston Loveland gets involved. Luther Burt. This is a get-right game for the offense. It's got to be.
But like at the same time, we've covered games where Matt Eberflus keeps games close against Ben Johnson. Like you could argue that he's had success against Ben Johnson, maybe more so than some other defensive coordinators around the league. And he knows the quarterback. He knows the personnel. At least most of them.
Yeah. And they did stop the run okay today too, the Cowboys. Now, I haven't seen much of this game. It was going on simultaneously with the Bears. I haven't watched the film. But Cam Scadaboo had 45 yards on 11 carries. Giants didn't run the ball a whole lot in this game. So I don't know what to make of that. Maybe there were more opportunities in the stats show in the run game, but that was the big concern for the Cowboys coming into the season. But they did add Kenny Clark in that trade, and so maybe the run defense is a little bit better. But I'm sorry, this has to be a game where, regardless of the outcome, your offense gets going. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, go to work, get things done. It has to. It has to happen.
My final dislike here is, yes, I did have the Bears losing their first two games. The Vikings coming in the Soldier Field and winning. I had the Lions winning this one, but I didn't think it'd be this ugly. I didn't think J.J. McCarthy would have the fourth quarter he did in week one. Going through my season predictions, I had the Bears beating the Cowboys in week three. Now I'm not too sure about it. Now I'm willing to talk myself into Matt Eberflus having a good day. It's not that far-fetched. I don't believe it is.
No, and I hate to say it, but that would be the Bears thing to happen. Matt Eberflus coming back to Soldier Field and shutting down the new head coach in Ben Johnson. He's going to be taking that personally.
For guys that have covered Robbie Gould coming into Soldier Field and kicking, how many field goals? 5, right?
Yep, 15 points. That's all it took.
Like, we've covered revenge games that more often than not go in the favor of the opponent.
And we apologize for being cynical on that.
Like, didn't Chris Connie have a revenge game?
He had a pick 6, I believe, for the Bucs in Tampa against the Bears. And I don't remember the exact quote, but I know he had a very memorable, revenge quote to Rich Campbell after the game in the locker room.
Yes, he did.
I'm forgetting it off the top of my head, but it was and it was controversial because Bears fans were basically like, "You sucked when you were here. How dare you say that?" And I think some of us that covered him were kind of like, "Yeah, good for you. You went through some crap. You got your moment. Say what you got to say, and everybody can move on." So, yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. Have there been other revenge games that have not gone? Like, today was a revenge game for the Lions. They won it.
I mean, David Montgomery's had 18 revenge games.
Yeah, he's winning those handedly. Alshon Jeffrey, Eagles. Yeah, maybe.
He definitely had some moments. By the way, J.J. McCarthy's going to need another crazy fourth quarter. I'm not sure it's a good sign for the Bears either that they only have 6 points late in the third. But we are going to get off and go watch the end of this game. It's 12-6 as we're recording this on Sunday night. I do have one more and that is a group of friends, neighbors, and family that for the 4th year in a row, it's crazy, it's been 4 years already, got together.
You can show it again, Katie.
Yeah. To put that on a background next time, but got together to honor Jeff Dickerson with a tailgate. A bunch of his friends, his parents were there too. My wife, kids were there, so they got to enjoy that. They were. I can't believe it's already the 4th Bears season without JD. Crazy. So yeah, at least. Unfortunately, I think the Bears are 0-4 in those games. And last year, you know what last year's game was that they did that?
What?
The Hail Mary.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and my son was bawling. The reports I got, he was bawling. I mean, like most Bears fans were. We'll have your voicemails coming up on Wednesday's show. We might have a special guest as well, trying to court a former Bears player to join us, who is texting me today quite frequently and angrily. So a little tease for you there. But yeah, no Monday morning show. This is your Monday morning show. Hopefully you're getting it. I mean, maybe you're watching it Monday recorded or listening to it as a podcast.
I like how my bad internet became a running joke on here for a while. Am I any better?
That is what. Yeah, that is one more is the enhanced Marriott internet is way better.
Okay.
Although it was still dicey there for a little bit, and now it looks crystal clear. So
maybe Pat Finley standing across the hall. Maybe it was writing something.
Was he sabotaging?
Maybe.
Probably he was probably uploading some big giant file just to sabotage the show.
Downloading tomorrow's Chicago Sun-Times.
Yeah. So yeah, we will be back with you Wednesday morning. Digest the tape, and we will have your voicemails on Wednesday shows. A little too quick of a turnaround. I heard the voicemail line was popping off today, though. I'm sure it was. So those will still be entertaining to listen to on Wednesday. Also, Wednesday morning, we'll have our insider analysis column that Johns and I will write together. We'll break down everything we see here over the next couple of days. We'll look ahead to the Cowboys as well. Big week, must win. Cannot lose to Matt Eberflus and the Cowboys. Otherwise, unfortunately, I think we'll be talking about, what can be salvaged from the season after just 3 games. Nobody wants to be in that position. So we'll see if the Bears can bounce back this week. At least it's more of a normal week. We'll go from Sunday to Sunday. It's a good start.
Real football week.
Yeah. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday morning.
Let's do it. See ya.